Dry cleaning, Stumpwork, album review, let's chat about it. Hey friends, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning here tonight to chat about this latest album from Dry Cleaning. These guys and gals are a UK-based post-punk and art punk band. They were turning heads for quite a long time with a slew of their early EPs, so much so that I could not wait to get my mitts on their debut album, New Long Leg, and when I did, I was not disappointed. This was easily one of the best albums of the year last year. It was a heady, wordy, intense post-punk album that just had great performances all around. The production was very solid. Not only that, but Scratch Card Lanyard is easily the best rock track of 2021. I mean, it's such a good album, mostly because the replay value is there. You could dive so far into this album and just find mysteries and eccentricities for hours, and I personally loved that. Now, I did not expect to hear them so soon, even though I know they recorded the bulk of New Long Leg about 2.5 years ago. And for the most part, I did enjoy most of the singles. Let's chat about this thing. The album starts off with Anna Calls from the Arctic, and to be perfectly honest, this single did take a little while to marinate with me. It is a longer track than I'm used to hearing from them. I mean, so much of what I liked about their debut album was the urgency. We were getting these very intense, wordy performances up against these very agitated, upbeat punk jams. This is not that. It's much more fluid, almost psychedelic at times, and honestly, it does work for them. It's spacey, it's full of curiosity, and for the most part, the performances all around on this track are fantastic. Dry Cleaning have a way of bringing you into their world and making you think about it the rest of the day. It's very entrancing, and this is a great single. On the other hand, Kwenchy Kups is exactly where I hoped we would hear the majority of this album. As far as the deep cut goes, yeah, this is great. I love the upbeat and plucked riff and the very tense atmosphere and the once again very wordy performances. Get used to them. It's airy, it's sweet, and like Florence Shaw is such an interesting frontwoman. She is the backbone of this band and she is the reason that it works. Her performances are absolutely mesmerizing, and this track is just catchy enough to stick with you. As far as a great single goes, look no further than Gary Ashby. Leading up to this album, this is the single that hyped me up the most. It's upbeat, but it's simultaneously sort of breezy and airy, but also kind of tense, but it works. It's artsy, it's a little neurotic, and if you didn't like their sound already, I hate to say it, this isn't going to be the track that wins you over, but if you are a fan of their sound, this is going to be a feast for you. Hot Penny Day is one of my favorite experiments on this album. This is a sort of new sound for them. Once again, it's sort of, pulls from psychedelic rock once again. It's sort of funky as well, but also, much like their debut, there is so much happening in such a small space. The world of Dry Cleaning has like 1,000 different corridors, all leading different directions, but all of them seem pretty inviting. This, to me, is the next logical step for the band. Easily my favorite deep cut here. It also answers the fundamental question, can I still call you my disco pickle? I will say this, though. I'm a little disappointed with the consistency of this album. I feel like, while this album is still an absolute feast for art punk and post-punk fans out there, the truth is, it's not as consistent as New Long Leg. Driver's Story is a little bit too slow, a little too plodding for my liking. It's not like they can't do a track that's a little bit slower, a little bit more trimmed down. That's totally fine. But this track, there's nothing going on here, and there's no progression at all. It's boring. Leading up to this album, I thought No Decent Shoes for Rain was by far the worst single here, and it really hasn't grown on me. I kind of think it's the worst track here. This sluggish, incredibly dense sound from the band, it's just not cutting it for me. It's a little bit too slacker, a little too burnt out for my liking. It's like pulling teeth from me, and Conservative Hell is not that much better. The instrumental, from a distance sounds pretty true to form for the band, but I hate that bass riff on this track so much. And because of that, I feel like everything else just kind of falls apart. I can't remember the last time I heard Dry Cleaning sounding so freaking flimsy. And it's a shame because there's some elements here like the spacey synth and the woodwinds that come off pretty cool. Overall, though, this track is not for me. If anything, I'm interested more in the final instrumental minute that we get here. And Icebergs, as a finale, I think it's a letdown. It's the haziest, weirdest, and most burned out sounding track here. It honestly sounds like a normal Dry Cleaning track was left out into the sun for like 6 hours, which sounds pretty cool, but I don't know. The energy and the urgency is just not here. I wish there was something a little bit more interesting going on. I mean, I don't think it's the worst track here. There's some elements that are cool to it, but I'm kind of let down by it. But while the consistency is off, when they're on their A game, they are just bringing to the table very urgent, very neurotic, wordy, intense post-punk that still makes them one of the more captivating bands out there in the genre. The title track, Stumpwork, this track is freaking awesome. This is the perfect example of a sort of hazy, psychedelic sound working for the band. It takes the already very heady, intense, wordy performances of their songs, makes them even more captivating, more mysterious, more hypnotic, and invites you to dig deeper. Don't Press Me is one of the best tracks here. Hearing this as a single gave me a lot of hope for this album. It's short, it's sweet, the urgency is here. It's also sort of breezy, and I love the whistled chorus. It's so catchy. Yeah, it may be a little straightforward for the band, but man, it's really memorable. And Liberty Log is just so cool. This is easily one of the most surreal, far out tracks here that is really hard to follow, but that's what makes it exciting. It's quiet, it's meditative. I cannot look away. This is exactly how you do a slower track from Dry Cleaning. And this track is almost 7 minutes long, but I'm totally invested for the whole thing. And the glitchy, sort of psychedelic production tricks, I wish we heard more of those. So this time around, the consistency is not as sharp as it was on New Long Leg, and the urgency is down, but the intense, heady, wordy performances and just how confident they are with bringing them to the table makes them one of the most fascinating and must-see acts in post-punk right now. I just wish that some of the experiments went over better and this album was a little bit more consistent, but man, there's a lot of great material on here still. Build a decent 7 on this album, but let me know what you all think down below. If you like the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, friends.